What's up, guys? I'm Chase Brogan. With me, as always, Marcus Buff Bagwell. What's going on, man?
Hey man, what's up?
Not too much. Don't you love that intro video?
I just caught myself going like this.
I've edited a lot of Buff Bagwell videos at this point, but that's my favorite right there. The
It's a
little
good one.
highlight reel. Yeah.
It's a good one, bro. I mean, I just the other day, Stacy was looking at something that somebody posted. It was it was Jeff and Mongo McMichael
Okay. Jeff
shooting me
Jarrett.
off the ropes and me taking and doing something, and it was just a small clip. And when I saw it, I looked at Stacy and I said, I was really good at that. I just I'd never seen that clip. There's a thousand. I think people don't believe this, but I have not watched 90% more than things I have watched in this business, and it's just a lot more percentage I don't see what I did. So when I see something, I'm like, and I look, and she was had it on the video, and just the way I was in the ring, it was special, man. It was a special time where I mean I was fast, and it was just I look at him like I feel like it's a different person,
Yeah,
and it was a different person, but.
that's true. That's true.
I mean, 25 years is a lot, but it just really blows my mind when I see that, and I think about wrestling today. I mean, I feel like we were just leaps and bounds ahead of what's going on, and
It
it's
was
just
a different
weird.
time. It was
It was a
a
different time.
very different time. The entertainment of it, the
Yeah.
physicality of it, everything was different. Now it's, yeah, I don't know. I
I
have
mean,
trouble watching Raw.
is there a Goldberg? Is there a killer?
An attraction, an
Yeah.
attraction.
Is there
I
a
mean,
main eventer? Is there a
there's
Rock
not.
right now?
No, no.
There's
The
not.
only thing I can think of is Braun Breaker. I think has it all, but they haven't really given
They had to
him
push him.
right. Right. They are pushing him a little bit,
Yeah,
but
and he will be that
he
guy.
is that guy.
But
Yeah.
for them not to have a guy and not to have had a guy when WCW Monday Night Nitro had 20 of them,
Right.
20 guys.
Oh, look
That
at the
was
'98
that guy.
roster. Yeah, it's incredible.
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody that was on there was a legend from top to bottom.
Yes.
Even the young guys. So it's you don't
That
have
was a
that.
that was a tough roster, brother.
It definitely was, but it had to be tough to navigate that roster too. I mean, you have by today's standard, those guys were all top to bottom main eventers,
Yes.
but
And well,
somebody had
think
to
about
open the
this.
cards.
Buff Bagwell would show up to a Nitro, and I was off, and it was okay
Right,
because there was a bunch of other stars.
right.
Buff Bagwell wouldn't be off to save your life today. So it's weird like that to me. And a pay per view, for example, there'll be a pay per view we'll go down and look at, and I wasn't on it,
Yeah,
and I wasn't missed because it just was loaded with talent, man.
right. Well, with the NWO too, I mean, you guys were all an attraction together. So
Yeah,
I mean, it didn't matter who was the valet,
no,
down, unless it was Virgil. Virgil never really fit in my mind, but
yeah.
did he ever have matches? I mean, I feel like he was your valet for a while there
He,
too.
he was always kind of the B valet. We'd always
Right.
come up to that B NWO music every once in a while, but he was still always in the mix.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But
Interfering,
I think
hitting
I
somebody with
think
a belt in the back of the head or something. Yeah.
yeah, I think we did a tag match once
Okay.
where he tagged, and I just kept him out of it as much as I possibly could. I said, "You just stand right here, and I'll take care of this." Okay.
He was good for interference though.
He was. He
he was
was. He was.
he
He
was good to grab you
understood
by
the.
the ankles when you broke your neck and pull you over to the side a little
Yeah,
bit.
his timing was spectacular.
Oh man. Well, bless him.
Yes, God bless him for real.
So let's dive into the first question. So we had Walker, 1984. Walker always beats us to this. He wrote this in at 5:27 p.m.
I
today.
love him.
Did you write what you said into the camera down to memorize what you wanted to say, that TV tapings, or was it pure in the moment ad lib?
It's such a fantastic question, and I don't get this a lot. Um, I would say I would say that 70% of all wrestlers write it down and go over it and rehearse it. There was only one interview I did like that, and it was the because I was so nervous about it. It was the one where I imitated Scott Steiner, and it was I needed to nail it. So I mean, I wrote it down and it was practiced it word for word, um, and that was the only time I ever did that. The rest of the time, I told a story about the ramp getting redone one time, and Eric coming back and saying, "Hey, you guys go check out the new entrance. It's kind of slippery." And everybody got up and went out except me. And Eric goes, "Did you hear me, Bagwell?" And I said, "Eric, I don't care if it's slippery." He goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "If I fall, I'll just make it funny." And he just broke up laughing, like, "What?" I go, "Dude," I go, "it is what it is. I don't want to see what I'm going into. If it catches on fire and I'm in flames, I'm going to make it work." I said, "That's just what I do. So I don't want to go out and check the ropes and take a few bumps and look at everything. Tell me where the hard camera's at and tell me when to go." And that's what I did. And that's what Buff Bagwell did to the down to the strut we just did it in the ring, down to the me get, I watched this the other day. I got in the ring and did that one-legged hop into the circle, and I thought, what made me come up with that? I mean, I didn't practice it. I
Yeah.
didn't go over it in the back, and it's not easy to do. You get in your living room or in your front yard and do a hop on one leg at 240, and then find the hard camera and look good doing it. It's pretty hard.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So but that's what I got off on, man. I loved ad living. You just didn't know what was going to happen. You may get booed, you may get cheered, you may get stuff thrown at you. I went with what the people gave me, with what the arena, the lighting, what the moment gave me is what I gave back.
And that seems to be what's missing today. Everything is scripted out from every
Yeah,
movement to every line said. Yeah, and again, that makes it the different time that it is. And I don't know. I guess I mean, it seems to be working. I was just in Vegas, and they took over the whole city out there, so they're
that's
doing the
unbelievable.
right thing. I guess it's just
Right.
adapting, changing with the times,
I guess so. It's really weird to me.
for sure. Do you think if you made the jump to WWE earlier in your career, Vince would have saddled you a ridiculous gimmick? I thought this was going in a different direction. Like when they took Too Cold Scorpio and made him Flash Funk.
That question could go a million different ways, man. But
I thought he was going to say, would you have been better off had you come in earlier? Which I think you would have been, if you had come in when Eddie Guerrero came in or Dean Malenko came in.
and that's what that had if I could go back and be careful about a decision I was making. But looking back on it, it would have been real hard, man. But I needed laying there with a broke neck with $0 guaranteed to me. I would have had to been a little bit picky about my contract to Eric.
Yeah.
And I'm asking for 1.1 first class ticketing, rental cars, and hotels paid for. Are you kidding me? And now
What
I
else
want to
is left?
say,
Yeah.
hey, can you take the I can't ever remember this name, the somethings out of it, which means it's these levels you took out so
The
they can
buyout,
some kind of
something like
word
that.
that all the wrestlers was getting taken out of their contracts so that way they couldn't suspend you or fire you, or you could leave if you wanted, kind of thing. It was just
Gotcha.
you took something out of it, and I couldn't do it to Eric. We were too good of friends. He was too good a boss. WCW was doing too good at the time. I would have had to have a crystal ball to have made the right decision, but the right decision, and man, it would have been impossible. I'm playing it through my head right now, but the right decision, as we know now, would have been when Vince flew me up to the WWF to talk to them. Then right there is when I should have just asked for my release, and I think Eric would have gave it to me.
Yeah.
Just I want to go, Eric. I want out. I would want out from a company that I helped go from not filling up center stage 500 people to selling out the Georgia Dome, and now I want to leave. It would have been ludicrous. It would have been crazy. I'd have been the smartest guy on the planet doing it. And if it would have gone any other way, I'd have been the stupidest person on the planet. So I just did what was in front of me, which worked for a lot of years. And that was, man, I was a WCW guy from the start. Was rolling. We were winning the war. And out of respect to my boss, Eric Bischoff, I signed a 3-year deal. And it just so happens that 3 years from the day I signed it, it came within 2 weeks of when Vince took over the company.
Yeah,
And
it's
it
bad
couldn't
luck.
have been a worse timed out thing ever for Mark Bagwell and Booker T in Dallas. All three of us, none of us enjoyed going there first.
Yeah.
It was bad. We knew it was bad, but you couldn't tell anything to Buff Bagwell that it was bad. I'm 31 years old. I got one of the best bodies in the business. I'm a great wrestler. I'm gonna make a name for myself in the WWE. It's gonna take some time, but I'm gonna do it. And that just didn't happen.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it was.
It's a strange question here, but I'm going to ask it. Who had the worst smelling farts out of all the boys? And it's a two-part question here. Do you break wind at home in front of the family? My wife was grossed out at first, but now she can bring the funk worse than me. So that's a strange one.
Did he pay us for this? Say, did we get paid for this one?
I don't. We did not get paid for this one.
Wow, we should have. We should. I think everybody can answer this the same way. First date, of course, no.
Right.
And by the time you interact each other for a couple of years, I mean, yeah. But I still don't do that, though. I just don't. And if I do, I say, "Excuse me." And I think I used to. I mean, years ago, maybe not. But the older you get, I think I don't cuss anymore. I don't like cussing. If I do, I try to correct it instantly. Same thing with farting. It's gross. But I think Steiner boys probably carry that number one smell thing.
There you go. That's kind of where I thought it would go too. All right, let's see what else do we have here. Buff, as in the NWO for Life membership, what are your thoughts on Vince bringing the NWO back in WWE? At first, it was cool, but seeing Shawn Michaels in the shirt, it was over it was over for me.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that? Did you ever watch any of that stuff?
That's the way to put it, and the answer is no. And it wasn't on purpose. I don't think. I was trying to survive. I was deep into my addiction. Could care less what the WWF was doing because the WWF that fired me, the WWE now, I could care less what they were doing because I wasn't involved. So the last thing I want to do is check it out and see what am I not in this week, so it really hurt for a long time that I just couldn't watch it, but I do remember thinking that's never going to work because you got to have the original guys,
Right.
I mean, even in that original picture, seeing Virgil is good because it was old school NWO. I did think it would work, but I just think it needed
not for long though.
Not for long, yeah.
Yeah, that's the reality. It brings back the nostalgia of it, but
sure.
It's I mean, lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place.
It's pretty tough.
For sure. Terry Quick, hi Buff and Chase, hope all is well. And then we've got Lonnie here. You're buff and you're the stuff.
Thank you. Hey, you had a Mike Yazzie came up a minute ago. Did you see that one?
Where is Mike Yazzie? Yes, that's the one we just did.
No, that was his?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so that's this guy.
Oh, okay, nice.
So he gave this to us, and that's really cool. I just saw him in Illinois.
That's awesome. Awesome. That's a great game too. That's the $80,000 game.
Okay, yes, it is.
Yep. All right. Mr. Bagwell, good evening out there of the legendary Heel Stable NWO.
Thank you, brother. How you doing, Lonnie Booker?
And they kind of use Roman Reigns as an attraction now. Yeah, I guess Roman's definitely, I mean, he's getting attraction pay every year. That's for sure.
Yes.
What do you think of Roman Reigns?
I think Roman is their biggest superstar. I really do.
Sure.
If you line up, I mean, let me write down who I think. Let's see right here. Okay, so if I wrote down their top, let's see. Who do I see? Just pop off their five biggest stars.
Right now, Cody, CM Punk, John Cena, and Roman Reigns. What's that, 4?
Okay,
So
that's good enough. That's
Seth
good enough.
Rollins. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Seth, Cody, CM Punk, Cena, and Roman Reigns. We said the exact same 5.
Okay.
So with those 5 and those 5 guys standing there, you go into a room, and I've said this analogy before. You go into an office building of a bunch of suits that you're trying to convince to put money into your company called the WWE. Who looks like the professional wrestler? Who looks like the WWE champion?
Roman Reigns would be the only one, right? Well, I'll give John Cena. He's still got a good body, but yeah,
Cena does
yeah,
too if he would
right,
just tan a little bit and do a little something with his hair.
right,
But his body's incredible. But
right.
Roman Reigns looks like a star,
Yeah,
and I just don't understand how there can only be one star there. It's just weird to me. It just blows my mind. But it's, I mean, and there's a lot of guys that are top guys. Who's the tall guy that does the power slam? That's with the purple and black team. The
Damian Priest.
Damian Priest, superstar. But you take him to a building full of suits, and they're going to say,
Well,
who's
he's
the
a big
tall
guy,
hippie?
but he's too lean. He's too lean.
Who's the tall skinny hippie?
Right,
Oh, he's our world champion. He's what? He's what is he again?
right.
Oh, he's our world champion. He is. It's just not believable. Hey, here's our guy. Goldberg walks up. Hey, here's our guy. Lex Luger walks up. Hey, here's our guy. Cody Rhodes walks up. I'm below these guys, but that's what that's missing. It's missing these guys that look like superheroes.
Yeah,
And
I
Roman,
agree.
being just a fit, in shape kid, is the biggest freak there.
He is.
He looks the biggest. He's the freakiest of all, and he's just a decent third place Mr. Georgia guy.
Yeah. No, you're right.
That's all he is, And
Yeah,
it just
there's nobody exceptional right now. Right.
And I
Eh,
mean looks,
Yeah.
work and mic and all that. That's a whole nother level. And I get it. I'm talking about you walking in a room of guys that's never watched wrestling, and you're trying to convince them to put money into your company, and here's your roster, and you bring out um Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Here's our champion. Who is he? So I don't get that now analogy. I don't understand it. I really don't.
Right. Right. No, I get it. I mean, these guys would have been like your cruiserweights in some case. I mean, Sami Zayn would qualify as a bigger cruiserweight, or your European champion, or maybe your TV title would go to him, but
Yeah,
not.
maybe once you tanned him, got him in the gym, and shaved that nasty beard off his face, yeah, you probably could get him in that category after all 3 of those things. But until then, no, you really couldn't.
I
Even
got you.
even our cruiserweights were in shape and they were
Oh yeah,
tan.
yeah, yeah. I mean, WCW put cruiserweights on the map. I mean, that wasn't
Look
that,
the part.
right.
Look the part. I don't. We're fighting an industry of. I mean, at least I'm talking 25 years ago, but we still kind of do. Is it real? Is it fake? What all that crap? look the part, where it's not fake, and that's what I feel needs to happen, and it just don't happen quite enough.
Now we have a question here that this is proceed with caution with this one. I'm going to ask it. Do you think that people who it says assisted themselves with Hogan, but I think he means associated themselves with Hogan, are hurting their personal brand right now?
I do not. I mean, that's Hulk Hogan, guys. I mean, on everybody's Mount Rushmore of wrestling, if you don't have Hulk Hogan or Andre the Giant on your, Mount Rushmore, you're just not being honest with yourself. It's where it all happened. It's where everything happened, and without those two guys, none of this happens. So I don't think so. I think Hulk Hogan is going to be, the most popular, most famous professional wrestler in the history of time because he's Hulk Hogan.
I agree. You can't take away from him what he provided to pro wrestling. I don't think pro wrestling is where it is today without Hulk Hogan. But,
No,
the question wasn't, I mean, I see both sides of it. Obviously, he's not well liked right now.
right.
But
What
being
is
well,
that? What is the heat?
it's the racial remarks that he made. But I mean, this is
So
going
this is
back 10
how old
years,
is
but it's
this?
it's old, to 2015, something like that. So I mean, it's old, but I think it's how he's proceeded without apologizing. I think it's also that people think that he lies about everything. There's a lot of components to this that
Is
just
there,
makes him not
you
likable
know? And
to the
again,
average person.
with all that said, I know, obviously how that can be, but I still just don't think there's any way that he's done enough that by you associating yourself with Hulk Hogan, somebody's going to frown on you.
No, no,
Hey, they may have something to say like, man, I can't believe he did that, or it's unfortunate he did that. But for you to get looked down upon by associating yourself with Hulk Hogan, I really don't think what he's done is that ugly. I know I didn't hear it fully. I don't fully understand, but no matter what the damage was, it still shouldn't quite be where it rubs off on you. He
right.
did it. If you don't like Hulk Hogan for what he did, don't like him. But I think because I was in the NWO and associate myself with Hulk Hogan, I shouldn't get a bad name or feel like
No, absolutely not.
yeah. I
No,
think what he's done, I think it should, I think it's, if anywhere it's probably going to hurt him with his beer brand and stuff.
yeah.
But it doesn't look like it is. So,
No,
you
it
know,
doesn't. He seems to be doing quite well with it, and I
yeah.
see he's got a line everywhere he goes to the distributors and all the stuff he's doing. It seems to be doing really well for him. But yeah, I
And
mean,
when you
there's always
add
going to
all
be
that,
people that
yeah,
don't like him.
and when you add all that together, you just said with the lines and I mean, there's like as we know, there's going to be haters in every situation, no matter what you're doing. So for him to come out at these events and have good turnouts and all that, I think he really that Netflix thing when he got booed crushed me. It crushed me. And I think it crushed him, but I just don't think it's enough to um, hurt him. I'm surprised he didn't apologize for it. I didn't know the full story with that. I'm sure he could just.
Yeah, I know that Mark Henry had reached out to him, and I guess he was saying, why don't we go on a tour to black colleges and try to make amends, and I guess he turned it down. So there has been stuff like that, and when that gets publicized, of course, he looks terrible in that
Right.
light. When you have somebody that's willing to take you by the hand and try to help facilitate and,
Yeah.
and rebuild a relationship like that,
Sure.
um, it wasn't a good look.
Right.
But
No, for sure. And
what are you going to do? But again, that doesn't rub off on you. It shouldn't rub off on
yeah.
anybody.
So then
You've always had
to answer the question, I do think no, it doesn't. It's not going
right,
to wouldn't rub off on anybody to answer the question. It should be, it's on him, and that's unfortunate. And I mean, was it you know, again, for him not to apologize does kind of shock me. They didn't apologize, but that's the only bad thing I think. Out of that is not to correct it and say, "Hey, heat of the moment, whatever the reason,
right,
excuse, whatever the reason is that you
yeah,
give, but let there be something for the reason."
of course, of course. Let's see.
Great question, though.
It was. It was. Have you ever been compared to George Michael? How did you react? There's
Okay,
your reaction right there.
man. I don't think I've ever been asked this. Okay, so I was not a big George Michael fan. Knew his songs. Um, didn't know that we looked a lot alike at one time.
Yeah,
Do you know that?
I do. So I'm thinking back to the days with Scotty Riggs
Well, it
when you had the
actually
goatee. I think you looked
it was Buff because he had the
okay.
Caesar cut. He
Okay.
did the Caesar cut with the jet black goatee and
Mhm.
the jet black Caesar cut as Buff Bagwell. Brother, it was he's a much I think is a much better looking guy, I think, but we looked a lot alike, and the first time I heard it, that's why I laughed. I was in Las Vegas at a comedy show, David Copperfield at a Las Vegas magic show,
Okay.
and um, my partner at the time goes up to be part of the show in the front row, and he makes a crack and goes, "Hey, everybody, George Michael's in the front row," and the crowd pops, and I went, why did they pop at that? I like George Michael. And then so of course when we got back up, I think this was in the 90s, so there wasn't no cell phones and all that out there. But we did whatever we did to find a picture of him, and I was like, oh my God. I mean, we looked a lot alike, and that horrible
There you
that's
go.
pretty
Keep that one
close,
right there.
bro. But I think even if you research a little more, he went from the poof to the slick down. I
Yeah.
remember the picture I saw. It was the Buff Bagwell jet gel and the slick down,
Yeah.
and that just was when I remember this, whether it's true or not. This is what I remember, that he was at some bathroom looking under stalls or something. That was the
Okay.
rumor
Oh, I
that was
gotcha.
out at the time that I got called George Michael. And I was like, that ain't good. That's not good.
That's poor timing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's bad timing. So yeah, so that's why I chuckled at that. But I've never been asked that. I've never been told that. But that David Copperfield is who said that to me.
So we got this one here. Hey, Buff, worked some shows with you in Virginia back in 0203. Remember Shady? Great to
Wow.
see you sober, bro. So proud of you. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, great times. I mean, I say great times. It was horrific. I was Buff Bagwell in the independent circuit, and I mean, it was like Hulk Hogan. Well, it wasn't like that, but it was kind of like Hulk Hogan going to the independents. It was ridiculous. I mean, I was a superstar of television, and just getting pulled in every direction to come work for people, and just trying to hold on the best I could with alcohol and pills. And it was just a big mess is all it was. And I kept it together for a long time. I stayed in shape, and I stayed tan. I looked the part of a non-addict person, even though I was, completely just strung out. But you didn't know it because I looked good, and I hid it through that way. I hid my addiction through looking good visually, and it worked for 10 years, and then it finally quit working.
Yeah. Well, and the indies back then weren't like they are now. Now guys can make, I mean, it's in some cases as
Yeah.
much as they made in WWE, maybe even more
Yes.
because they have their own merch, they have their own brand deals. Social media has changed everything, but this was a tough time to
It
make it
was
on
a
the
it was
indies.
a real tough time, and this is the time of fans showing up with brand new, old, kind of poor, trashy cell phones with cameras, and I'm trying to charge $10 for a picture, and the fans saying, "You charge $10 with my own camera?" And I told you this story. I got to explain to them, I'm either going to lose this cell or I'm going to gain a cell right here. And how I gained it was I came up with an idea with a Polaroid camera. And I have a Polaroid camera. I had two of them with batteries and extra film. And I would say, I'll give you a picture with your phone. I'll give you a Polaroid picture, and I'll give you an 8x10 for $20. And $20 bills for a long time got thrown at me in a good way, and I made a killing with that. But I didn't just find that out overnight. It took a minute, and then
Sure.
then every show I had, I took the ring for intermission. It didn't take me long to be sitting at one of these shows, looking at that ring empty at intermission, and I'm like, what are we doing? So every show that Marcus Buff Bagwell was on, he was in the ring taking pictures.
Yeah. Well, I remember in Ohio, I got in the ring with you, and you did the photos there. I helped you with that, and
Yes,
I got to see what that does. And yeah, I mean, people were lining up around the ring. We had to cut it off. It
yes,
was crazy. So it's
yes.
still in 2025, you're able to do that on some shows,
Yep.
and it's I mean, it works in a big way.
It really does. It really does where everybody wants to get in the ring. And if you can make that easy and look fun all at one time, and I know how to do that, we did it and it makes it fun for the people. It's not boring, it's fast, it's over. I think we did that in 15 minutes.
Oh, I think it was even less than that.
Maybe less. So Bobby was on us, so
Right.
probably 10 minutes, and everybody had, and we continued it and
We
just
went to
signed
the
the
lobby.
rest of them, yeah, out
Yeah.
in the lobby, and it worked really fantastic.
Yep. Buff, would you want to become an agent or writer in WWE or AEW if they came knocking? Any other role in today's wrestling?
I would only be able to answer that if I knew what they were getting paid. To be on the road every week and all that.
It's a lot.
Yeah, yes, I would love to do something like that, but only if I knew I was making really good money. That's a rough lifestyle, man. It really is. That's rough. If I could pick my own job, I would want to train wrestlers. I would want to be that guy that somebody with a gimmick and a character comes to me and says, "Hey, what can I do to make this better?" And let me get in the ring and me advise what I think they could do to make their gimmick and their character a little better.
I mean, that would be huge for you. I think promos too. I mean,
Yeah,
a Buff Bagwell promo class.
sure.
That seems like a win right there.
Yeah, and just to show the little tricks that I got taught and just the little tricks of the trade that makes a person be able to do a one take and nail it and do it right, and live TV, and just get it nailed down where it makes sense, it's good. I do believe I have a lot to offer with that, and I would love to be in that situation where I could help somebody make their characters better.
For sure. I see this here, a wrestling historian right here. I liked Flash Funk. I was thinking that we saw the Flash Funk question earlier.
Yeah.
I think Too Cold fit that character perfectly. His Flash Funk in WWF.
Yeah,
Did you ever see that?
I never did. I mean, I remember seeing it vaguely and thinking, or remember hearing that they said he wasn't getting treated right, and just kind of was kind of a flash in the pan, wasn't it? I didn't. And what?
It didn't last for long. He went on to do, I think he was in like the Job Squad, and he was just like they didn't use him in a big way there at all. But
Right,
the Flash Funk, I mean, he came out kind of dancing like he did with you
right.
back in the
Feather in the
day.
hat and all
Feather
that.
in the Hat. It was kind of like just very similar to the Godfather.
Right,
Godfather did that. He did it in a cooler way, I think.
right.
But it definitely fit Too Cold, in my opinion, anyways. And let's see, we've got. Thank you, Ryan Brown, and also thank you, Wavid Dit over here, or David Witt, as I would assume that's supposed to say. Thank you for that one too. But from Ryan Brown, thoughts of the arrest of Duke Dumpster Draws. I believe in an incident until proven guilty, but yeah. So I don't know that whole story. Did you hear about this?
No.
So I think he was former WWF wrestler, just got arrested. I saw it flash across my computer the other day. I did not click on it, so I don't know. But
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
either. What's the draw's name? Is that his name?
Droz. I don't know how to pronounce that one. I'm probably,
But
butchering
it ain't
It's not Draj.
draws.
No,
Okay.
it's not that one. He passed away. I'm pretty sure.
Did
Right?
he really?
Yeah, I believe so.
Wow.
Let me see.
I went and saw him in the hospital like the first couple of days he was in there.
Really? Yeah, he passed away in 2023.
From what?
We can look it up. Let's see. Passed away. Let's see. It doesn't say here. He
That's
passed
really
away in
cool.
New Jersey, though, age 54,
Wow.
and this was 2 years ago. I believe it was complications because he was paralyzed from that spot with I
Yeah.
think it was D'Lo Brown, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. But I mean, he lived for a long time. I think he had like a whole thing to get around that. I forget who was behind that, but it was a wrestler that I know set him up with that.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
because that would have been late '90s that happened to him.
Well, like I said, I was WCW, and I remember Terry Taylor, uh, you know, changing my flight around to go make sure I saw him in the hospital. He was in Philadelphia. I think we were in Philadelphia too, and I went into his room and I gave him bad advice. I gave him advice that I thought happened. I told him what happened to me, and how when my hands and arms started coming back, then I got 100% better. Well, his hands and arms had come back a little, so I
Oh,
said
okay.
I didn't guarantee him or anything like that, but I said, hey man, mine came all the way back from there, but his did not.
Yeah, I
And
think I think he was paralyzed waist down, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
So he must have gotten some mobility back, but it didn't go all the way down.
wow,
So I looked up the guy that he's talking about, and he was arrested for trying to purchase child pornography. So, yeah, that's not a good one, and I don't know how that could be, you know,
wow,
misconstrued. That's pretty cut and dry.
yeah,
Um, yeah, that's a big no no there.
yeah, it sure is. Wow.
Crazy. I don't think he was a prominent figure in WWF by any means.
No.
This is a good question from Ryan here. A lot of wrestlers have favorite referees. Marcus Buff Bagwell, who would your favorite referee in WCW be?
Wow,
And
it's a
why?
great question. So I had a bunch of good guys, loved them all. Had a guy named Mickey J, and um, God, some of them I don't remember their names, but Mark was the guy that was in Mark. I can't remember his last name, but Mark was his first name. He was in the ring when I broke my neck, and he ended up dying of cancer.
Oh wow.
And yeah, I remember staying in touch with him over that because it mattered to me how he handled that whole situation, me breaking my neck. But my favorite, we had a guy named Pee Wee Anderson that was a
Little smaller
famous
guy, yeah.
little smaller guy, and he was great. He helped me out. He helped me out a lot. But that from the beginning to the end, and I mean from the beginning to the end, was a guy named Nick Patrick. He was a great referee. And I mean, and not on purpose. And I don't think I was main event that much, but it seemed like Nick Patrick was always my ref. And I mean, and I guess I look back at it, I was main event a lot of times, but it just don't seem like I was that many times for as many times as I know Nick was in that ring messing with me and joking with me and giving me the right cues and just everything. We had a great friendship, and he's who came up with Buff.
That's right. Right. We have that video out. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah,
Yeah, he's definitely that's the referee that I remember most. Obviously for WWF back in the day it was Earl Hebner. But
right.
Nick Patrick was the WCW guy of that level, in my opinion.
Yeah, he was.
Stevie Richards mentioned you on his podcast as one of the nicest and approachable wrestlers at conventions. That was really awesome of him to say.
It really was. Stevie and me never were really around each other a lot, but every time we were, it was pleasant and cordial. And so I always, respected that of him. He was always nice to me, but we never really knew each other. We were never in the same locker room. If we were, it was very brief. So we were never really around each other, never in the same rent a car or nothing like that, even though we were in the same business for a long time together at the same times. I just never really was around him a lot, but really super good guy. And he's very, very nice for saying that.
Okay.
And let me say that he's correct.
I've spent a little time now, with wrestling, and I've seen how some other people are behind the scenes, and I'll agree with them there. You're definitely the nicest to the fans, no matter where it is. I mean, I've seen you interact with people at 4 a.m. on the, that are just camped out in a airport. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what time of day it is. You're always
No,
very pleasant to everybody.
absolutely.
Congrats on your 500th video, Buff. We have that many videos on our channel. I didn't know that. So
Well, yeah. Tell me, you tell me he's telling the wrong person. Is that true?
I guess so. I believe him. I believe him. Well,
Wow.
that's including shorts and stuff too. And the shorts we've definitely done rapid. Yeah, he's right. He's right. Wow.
Wow. Well,
It's
thank you.
incredible. It's only, it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but it's already been like 7 months or so.
I
We've
was
been
about to
doing
say, I
this.
think it's been 7 going on 8.
Going on 8. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Wow.
So time's flying, but
It
it's
does.
been a fun journey for sure.
I love it. I mean, I really, it's been the most excited I've been about something in over 20 years.
Definitely, definitely. It's definitely so we got Michael Youngener here. Am I saying that
Okay.
right?
Yeah, well,
Mike.
I was saying it wrong for a long time, but this is our guy. This is
Our
May Heating and Air.
awesome.
He is our man. We've got both installations. We'll be getting some interviews, some camera stuff on them coming up. They've got all the stuff ordered for both winners.
Excellent.
And so that'll be something we'll be showing our viewers coming up in a short time when we actually put the HVACs in. And again, let's remind everybody what we're doing here, Chase.
In 2 weeks, we're going to be doing another giveaway. That's correct, right? And I believe
Yes.
that's the 22nd. So 2 weeks from tonight, we'll be doing another one, and that will be the May giveaway. So
Yes.
and perfect timing, May giveaway for May Heating and Air.
I love it.
That's awesome.
And it's in Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and
Alabama.
thank you, all 4 states. And we are giving away a free HVAC system. So if you know somebody that's in need of an HVAC system, please reach out. This is not a joke. This is a real deal. We've already got 2 people. We've got a person that won in March and a person that won in April. James Nunn won in March, and Sandy Spicer won in April. And now we're going to pick a third winner, May 22nd. And it's a free HVAC system that May Heating and Air comes out and installs. And it's an unbelievable offer. So if you know somebody again that's in need in those 4 states, please contact us on Marcus Buff Bagwell YT at gmail.com.
Yep.
At gmail.com. And we'll get you hooked up, get you in the running for it. We need a video, 30 to 45 seconds, possibly a good video showing us why you need a new HVAC system, and we put you in for the running, and we'll set it up, and May Heating and Air will come out and put it in for free. Yes, you heard me.
It's incredible. I mean,
It's incredible.
This is over $14,000 value right here.
Yes, Mike.
We've already done it twice, so we're going to do it. This will be the 3rd time. It's insane.
Yes. Nobody gives away $28,000 worth of something in 2 months ever.
Right.
But Mike Youngener definitely does. And that is how you pronounce his name, Mike Youngener, and super great guy. And just has offered, he came at me with this deal. And I was like, absolutely, let's do this. This is great. So I'm just very excited to be part of that May team.
Right. And James had been keeping me updated on the process. He said, they had come out, done all the measurements and all that stuff. So very cool of them to be so generous.
Yes. Yes.
Just great stuff there.
And a good time of year for it.
It sure is, for sure. I think James had said that he didn't have heat or air since 2012. So
crazy.
Thanks to them, that's going to be rectified. So
that's incredible. It is incredible.
So we've got a wrestling historian here, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. What was your reaction to David Arquette winning the WCW World Heavyweight title?
It was over.
It's tough. That's tough.
I couldn't defend anything we done ever again. It was over. It was everything else. I had an answer or a reply for. When that happened, I didn't know what to say. It was over. I don't know who okayed that. It was way above my pay grade. I don't know, but I just know that it ruined wrestling and it was over.
Yeah, it's tough because David Arquette seems like a great guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough, and I know he that was weighed heavy on him for a lot of years too, as a big wrestling fan. And did you ever see him do his comeback to wrestling just a couple of years ago? He was doing the indies and doing some heavy matches.
Like death match stuff, right?
He did some. He almost died in the ring doing the death
That's
match.
what I
Yeah,
heard.
yeah, yep. Crazy, crazy.
Yes. Not nonsense is what it is.
Well,
Complete
yeah. I mean,
nonsense.
when you're at that point, I mean, what do you really need to prove? I mean, he has to
Not
be. I would
sure.
say right around your age. I would guess.
He's got to be close.
It's too old for. I mean, I think anything's too old for death
Sure.
matches.
Absolutely.
Although I did see, so I was in Vegas and I saw TNA's pay per view out there, and the main event was a death match, and it was the most insane 15 minutes that I think I've ever witnessed. Absolutely insane.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so Sammy Callahan stapled the guy's tongue to a table. I mean, just it was
Uh,
heavy stuff.
you know what that is? That's too heavy, man.
Too heavy,
It's
too
just
heavy.
ridiculous. Let's just shoot somebody's head off while we're at it. Wow.
It's wild. It's wild.
I mean, I'm trying to think what you would say to the guy when he got in the back. Good match. You idiot. What's wrong with you, you crazy person? I mean, what do you say to him? Way to go.
I don't know. I don't know. It's
God,
wild.
you idiot.
It's wild. So Walker, 1984, Dennis Rodman was a pretty bad experience for me at WrestleCade. He didn't like when I told him my brother got the figure from eBay. Well,
Yeah.
that's where
Well,
you
yeah.
go to get stuff from the 90s. I mean, they haven't made a Rodman figure. You guys did have some WCW Rodman figures back then, but
We did.
yeah, yep. He had one with
Yeah.
Hogan, and he had he had one in the same figure line that you were in.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Have you? When was the last time you saw Dennis Rodman?
It would have been, well, no, we saw each a little bit after that, but it would have been around the same time he was there with us, Sturgis and all that. And
I
he
got
came
you.
out for Sturgis, but we saw him in LA a couple of times after that. Just partying at clubs and stuff. We would go with him and just, he's a lot of fun, great guy. Just, he's really just a super great guy, I think. Just like anything else, he went a little too far eventually and just drank too much. But for a long time, he was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he seems like he's still having a lot of fun out there. I briefly
Oh,
ran into him in Vegas, and he was running around hugging just random people. So
really?
seems to be enjoying life.
Good for him.
Good for him. Yep. Buff, did you ever have any segments with Jericho?
Segment. So I mean, I had matches with
Yeah,
Jericho.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
So
Jericho's in our intro video here. You're doing a
yeah,
blockbuster on Jericho.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was in almost positive it was in Asheville. Let's see, not Kentucky. That was in Johnson City, Tennessee, is where that was. And I
that
remember,
exact clip.
yes,
That's impressive.
I only wrestled him once, and it was in
Okay. Okay.
Johnson, and I'm blown away that I'm even blown away on that one. But I'm telling you, I'm right. It's Johnson City, Tennessee, and I remember it because that arena had an upper level. It was a big arena, and most big arenas don't have just two levels, but all I had was two levels, just one, two, and there was a big level. And I remember that he was the first guy that just the first one to complain about losing to me.
Okay.
And I was like, wow. And I didn't know Chris. He was brand new in the business in our company. Here I have been there,
So this
three
is
or
what,
four.
96, 97, something like that.
I've been there, half a decade at
Yeah.
WCW, and
Right.
been there a good bit, Rookie of the Year, and a couple tag team titles, and now I'm in the NWO. I'm a pretty good talent here, and I don't know who this cat is, and I didn't hear it with my own ears, but I heard the rumor that he was complaining, but I don't know that, so I don't use it any direction. We go over our match, it seems fine. We get out there, buddy, and boom, he lays it in. And I'm like, okay, okay. And so how that happens with wrestling is that's called a now he gets a receipt coming.
Mhm.
And if he keeps coming, you give more receipts, and then you got a fight that comes. But he just was very what I would call stiff. He wasn't snug. He was stiff. And when he did, I just was stiff back. But I remember all it does is make the match better. But I couldn't help but think he was being stiff, thinking he was going to try to get over on
Sure.
me in the match, because when you're losing a match and you don't want to lose, what your job is to do, you're going to lay down 1, 2, 3 because you got to, but you ain't got to get beat up for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So what he thought he was going to do was go out and beat me up for 10 minutes, and I was going to pin him. And that's not what happened. But that's what those kind of guys that do that, like a Rick Rude, that can do that did it to me before. He went out and just beat me up for 10 minutes, and then he lets you beat him, or he takes it home and he beats you. But Chris was a super good guy. I wasn't around him a whole lot. We were in Japan for that 3 weeks, and we got as close as you can get in 3 weeks. But we were on different spectrums of the earth. I had 10 pieces of luggage with me, and Chris got off on wearing the same tape every night. And I'm like, why do you do that? What's the reason? Do you think it's cool, or what am I missing? And me and Chris, but we made it, but it wasn't like heat. We enjoyed each other's company, but I just couldn't believe he did it. He would get excited to show me this black line that stayed there for 3 weeks. And he used the same strip of tape for 3 weeks. He had one duffel bag, and he washed his clothes in Japan while I was going to the tanning salon and working out at Gold's. He was going to wash his little clothes and brag about his one piece of tape. And I said, who cares? But we made it funny between us, and it wasn't
Yeah.
heat, and we got along all 3 weeks. We had the best 3 weeks. We watched the Super Bowl. Me and Scott Norton and Chris Jericho. Thank God the flight got snowed in Minneapolis, and we were able to catch the Super Bowl that year, whatever the year it was. I can't remember exactly, 98 or 99. We got to see the Super Bowl together, and then take off the next morning. And we got to spend 3 weeks in Japan together, and it was a blast. It really was a lot of fun to be around those guys. And we make fun of Chris like, brother, I saw your jeans walking by themselves a minute ago. They were looking for you. And we make jokes like that. And then here come me and Erica out with 12 bags of luggage, you know, and all the wrestlers are wanting to kill us,
Yeah.
like, look at what's Bagwell doing,
Yeah. You didn't travel
So
light back then. I got you.
no, brother, I had one. It was great. I had an outfit for every day.
Wow.
I'm like, what are we? Ain't that how you supposed to pack? And here come Chris with his duffel bag and bragging about it. And I'm like, why though?
Yeah. Different ends of the spectrum for sure.
Yeah, we were. I mean, different. Here's the great part: that that difference of end of spectrum. But I mean, at the best time in the world, and that usually don't happen that way. When you're that far off of spectrums,
Yeah. Yeah.
that usually don't click. But we clicked and had the best time ever.
Well, sometimes it's nice to be with something that's completely different than you. You
Yes,
know,
absolutely.
it widens your horizon, I guess.
Yes.
So we've got David Ditt. I keep trying to correct that, but Wavid Ditt here. Hey Buff, I'm back on the Indies, interested in doing some tele counseling for some of the new guys, match reviews or promo coaching. If so, what's your rate? So You could probably give me your email and talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can go to my Marcus Buff Bagwell at gmail .com, go to that email address, send me your information. I'll call you up. We can discuss it for sure. I do all kind of things on the circuit where I do indie shows where I show up and I got a little thing I do with managing a team, or I do signings. I do a lot of those things they do where they come and they pay for me to train them. Seminars, do some seminars, and just love doing anything like that. So give me a buzz on Marcus Buff Bagwell at Gmail, and I'll give you a shout.
Perfect. That sounds great. And let's see what else we have. Did you get a chance to work with Paul Roma? If so, was there any heat at all? I remember him going at it with Alex Wright on his way out of WCW.
Great story, great question. So Paul Roma and me were super close. Same idea, same body guys, tan, shave, train, whole idea, protein, steroids, everything was right in order with us, great friends. And we fell out over a football bet. I think it was $100.
Wow.
And I don't know. I don't remember even making the bet. Not saying it didn't happen, but somehow over $100 we didn't talk. And then when he left the company or whatever happened, we left with heat. But a great story I got with Paul Roma is we were working out one time, and there was a racquetball court open. And I consider myself a pretty good athlete, and an athlete meaning anything you want to play, I can be competitive in and play you pretty good in. So we get on a racquetball court, and Paul Roma made me look like an idiot.
Really?
On the racquetball court. He is a super athlete. Paul Roma is a spectacular athlete. He was the first one I saw that could run up the turnbuckle. Kind of like LA Knight does now. You don't see anybody doing that because it's very hard to do.
Right.
Paul Roma did it in one of our matches, and it's just hard to do on live TV because it's like
get it right. Yeah.
It's like 5 out of 10. You're like a 50% chance on making it right, and it's just not worth looking stupid for. But he did it one time and nailed it on our show. And but Paul Roma was a blast. Great matches. Really good in the ring. Really enjoyed working with him the whole time. Pretty wonderful.
So with the gambling debt, did you owe him money or he owed you money?
It was me owing him is the rumor, and I think the rumor was $100. And for some reason, something's hitting me with 60. But it was either $60 or 100, and I'm talking about talk again over it, and I'm like, and before I could even think to fix it, he was gone. He was out of the company, so we never got a chance to even talk about it, or what are you talking about kind of thing. But at this
Should we settle that on the Marcus Buff Bagwell podcast here?
Sure, absolutely.
Right.
But I do remember he during that time of the bet, man, this card game called Crazy Eights, and gambling was out of control in the WCW locker room. Out of control. And guys were, losing lots of money and making lots of money, whatever end you were on. There was a bunch of gambling going on, and friendships were getting hurt. And somewhere in there, somehow we did it, where over a football bet, we lost each other for a while. It was really weird.
Yeah. So you haven't seen him in a long time?
And then years go by, and me and Stacy saw him at WrestleCade.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, he'd be a good guest. So I ran into him at the post office the other day.
You told me.
Yeah, it's great. So I ran it, and we looked at each other, and I was like,
"Did you speak up?"
No. So I was like, I know that guy from somewhere. I went in, and then he had been right in front of me, and I saw him, kind of coming out as I was going in, and he left envelopes, on the counter there, and I just looked over at it, and I saw the name and Googled the name. I was like, I know him from somewhere, and Paul, it was his, his actual name.
What's his name?
I forget what it's some Italian sounding name. But yeah, I looked it up and Paul Roma popped up. And so Amir, our friend Amir, is his producer on YouTube right now. So
Okay.
I texted Amir right from there. I was like, I just ran into Paul Roma. I knew I recognized him from somewhere, but it didn't dawn on me until after we had passed. So yeah, I got to catch up with Amir a little bit at the same time.
So that tells me that me seeing Paul Roma was at the WrestleCade that you didn't come. Me and you hadn't started yet.
Right. So it was a year before.
A year before, and so because we would have had him on for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's somebody we could definitely call and get on the show.
For sure. Yeah. Apparently, we live in the same town or close to it, so that would definitely.
He's always wherever you live. That's where he's always from. He's always been up that area.
Yeah. Yep. I think he's got a wrestling school not far from here that he has with Mario Mancini, if I'm not mistaken. So
okay.
Yeah, he's definitely out this way, and love Amir. Amir's always good. So yeah, we could definitely do something with him, I'm sure, between the two channels.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Amir was just working TNA. He did some run in where he was like, one of the security guys on screen, but he's doing some like dark matches or something over there. So
really.
Yeah. Well, Amir, wow. he's jacked. He looks great.
Yeah, big tall guy too.
Yeah. Yep. So it's cool to see him doing his thing over there.
I love that.
So, all right, guys, send us one more question. We're going to do one more, and then we're going to call it a night. But we will be back on the 22nd, and we'll be giving away an HVAC system thanks to May Heating and Air. So we're going to take the best question that comes in next. Let's see what you guys got for us. And we see Mike R here. Hey, Buff, thanks for the cameo for my buddy and his baby Luna. Happy and healthy baby.
Oh, that's great. I remember that. I just did that cameo recently here.
Oh, nice. Very nice. And for anybody that wants cameos, there's a link to your cameo stuff in the description of the video, too.
I love that. Yeah, Mother's Day is coming out, man. So reach out and, get your mother a cameo from Buff Bagwell.
That's right. And you can check out Bryant Hill here, who's been on in the past. And you just did I just saw on Instagram, you guys had what'd you guys have? Fart smelling?
Monkey fart scent. So this guy makes all his own soaps. It's incredible. And we're working on a Buff cologne, and it's called In the Buff.
Very nice. I saw that when I was
great
when I was
name.
in Vegas.
Got a great name, and I love that name he came up with. And so we're just working on the scent now. So he's telling us it's going to be here Friday. That's great. I love it. Thanks, Brian Hill. We'll see you. We'll see you Friday, and I'll call you, Dwayne.
Excellent. Mark Hewitt, you passed up all my questions. Send me one more question, and we'll make sure that we hit it, Mark. It wasn't intentional. It's hard to keep up with everything here. What was your all-time favorite match in any of the companies you worked for?
Wow, it's always the toughest question on the board. It really is. Just I had so many great ones, man. And so many great wrestlers. But the one I always go to is 1993 Halloween Havoc Nasty Boys was probably my favorite match of all time.
And that was the title match that you won, right?
Yeah. No, we lost. We came out as champs.
Okay.
We came out as champs, though, which was cool to come out as champs on Halloween Havoc. And then we lost to the Nasty Boys at Halloween Havoc.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
But the match was fantastic. A really great match.
Nasty Boys were always fun to watch.
Yes.
All right. From Mark, if you could have a 6-man dream tag team match, who would you pick to wrestle, dead or alive?
6-man. It would be.
So who's going to be on your team? Who's going to be with you first off?
That's what I was trying to think. So on my team, I would want me, The Rock, and Sting.
Okay.
Against, I would say, Stone Cold, Ric Flair, and Booker T.
That's excellent. Very good.
6-man tag.
Perfect. And
I ain't got to tell you who does their spots with each other.
You're going with Booker, but you've done good stuff with Flair too.
That's
Don't you?
right. But I thought Sting and Flair,
Yep. Yep.
The Rock and Stone Cold, and then me and
Right.
Booker. Then you do the hot. Then you do the Heat hot tag, and then you take it home, brother. But that would be a hell of a match.
No, you did good stuff with Flair too, though, and you went
Yeah,
over on Flair, I think, a couple times.
I did. And that don't happen. I told you when I got in the locker room, Lex goes, "Congratulations." I said, "For what?" He goes, "For doing something I haven't done in 11 years." And I said, "You've never beat Ric Flair?" He goes, "Never." I was like, I went back to Rick and thanked him again.
Wow. And I saw this one earlier, so we're going to hit it for Damian here. Damian Blanchard. I got to know NWO plus Haku versus One Gorilla. Who you got? And this is a trendy thing I'm seeing. Everybody's talking about what against the Gorilla would win lately. What's that all about?
What is it about?
I have no idea, but I'm seeing that brought up like all over YouTube and maybe it's all over everywhere. But people are wondering like who could like go up against a gorilla and win.
But
I don't know.
somebody and a gorilla.
Right.
Okay.
So would the NWO plus Haku win against one gorilla?
Rick Rude.
So Rick Rude would have to be in there too.
Yes.
Right, and then you might stand a chance.
We have a chance if we had that.
Okay, there you go. Well, there you go. You got to have the run in with Rick Rude at least.
Yes.
And then this one I just saw AJ Fatal. Hey Buff, I've tagged you up with Johnny Swinger in a team called Euphoria in a bunch of wrestling simulation games. Okay,
that's cool.
nice. Johnny Swinger was somebody you traveled with down in Atlanta on the Indies, right?
Yes, on the ending of my career when hip replacements and shoulder replacements started happening, he was the guy that we would do tag matches together, and we would work together where he could get the match in and then hit me with a hot tag. And we did a lot of towns and made a lot of money in this industry from just on the way out physically.
Excellent. Who was it that we talked about Johnny Swinger with? Who was he friends with that we filmed it? I filmed an interview with. Was it Rhino?
Rhino.
Okay. All right. I remember very vividly that.
Big buddies.
Nice. Very nice. So Rhino just came out at AEW, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
He's still, again, he's tan. He looks the part. I love it.
He's a tank. Always has
been. He's a tank. He's never had abs. He don't need abs. He's tan. He looks great, and he'll roll through you.
Built like Scott Norton. He's just
yes.
That's absolutely powerhouse.
He is vicious.
Yeah, and he's got the gore finisher too. That you can do that.
Yes.
It's not a move that deteriorates with age. He's always going to be able to hit that. So
yeah,
he's awesome.
He can work a match. He can work an arm. He can beat you up. He's a very good talent.
Very good for sure. All right, guys. So we will be back on the 22nd, 2 Thursdays from right here, right now. So we will see you guys then. And remember, May Heating and Air. If you are in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, what's the last one?
South Carolina.
Then hit us up if you know somebody or you are somebody that is in need of an HVAC system. Hit us up, Marcus. That's right. Send us a video, 30 to 45 seconds. Marcus Buff Bagwell, YT@gmail.com. Thank you guys all so much for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks.